You know what we do too much in this game, in the game too much? We look for people's weaknesses. Yaya Toure is the best example. He can't defend. He can't play in a 4-4-2. Shut up. He's an absolute animal on the pitch.
You picked Mount ahead of Grealish. And I'm not saying Mount
Jesus Christ.
isn't you know what I mean?
Read the small print. I told you this last night.
Yeah.
Read the small print. The match ball, the kit man's got it somewhere. He ain't even that bothered, was he? He's not bothered about loads of stuff. He's like a weirdo like in that. He just like, I banged a hat-trick in at Old Trafford, get my kit on and go and have a beer. Like, and go and see my mates. That's it. He won't like me for saying it, but you just say, I hope I don't get him on my team. Wazza was the worst in training again today. Give him the yellow bib. It was weird. But come game time, Tevez was the same. You didn't want him on your team in training.
Yeah. You already know the vibes. Looking in with the guys. Even Rio and Joel. I got tune into 5. You know the vibes, you know the guys, you know the trio. You know it's D, you know it's Joel, you know it's Rio.
Vibe with 5, we're back, we're here. Make sure you turn on your notifications, subscribe. We're here popping off every single week. Listen, we want you guys, yeah? This is a call to arm. Make sure you guys now go on all of your favourite players that you want here. You want to see them on Vibe with 5. You want to see them interviewed, drilled down, get deep beneath the skin, here with us. Get on them and harass them. Get onto them and just tell them you want them to get on, and they'll contact us and we'll get them here and have them live and direct for you, week in, week out.
Someone must have a story.
Yeah, definitely, man. I agree, man.
Yeah.
We want it.
They got to make sure they come back on Vibe with 5 YouTube channel or 5 YouTube channel and let us know who you went to go talk to.
Oh, yeah. Tell us.
Make sure you come back to our channels and you let us know what you did. We'll shout you out.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. And also, by the way, after you've let us know who you've gone and harassed and who you've asked on our 5 YouTube comment section, we want to know, by the way, in our comments, who do you guys think is getting top 4? It's hotting up now. The competition's hotting up. I said yesterday live on BT last night after the Man United game against Brighton, we'll touch on a little bit after this, that I think Liverpool, after the 3-0 win against Arsenal, I think it's looking like they're going to get top 4 as well. So we'll discuss that in a bit. But give us who you think as well. Anyway, guys, so we start where we was last night. I was up in Manchester last night, made the journey, got there. So privileged to be in the stadium. Man United winning 2-1 against Brighton.
Yeah, man. It was a big one, innit? Hey, listen, before I go, hold on. Steve, Rio, that first half, tell me you guys weren't shaking a little bit. Tell me.
I thought one of them days all over the cards, me. Joe, and it's just sometimes you come up against the team and you go, they've got our number. And I thought the way the game started, we started so brightly, first couple of minutes at least. And then as soon as they got the goal, we can't break down low blocks. Simple as. And Brighton were well drilled and they was getting forward. And every time they broke, because obviously they're breaking against the team really high up the pitch, they was looking dangerous. I was pleasantly surprised that we got back into it though.
Yeah, first half, like you say, first 5 minutes, Brighton were giving us the ball and we looked dangerous, but they controlled the whole second half. I thought their tactics were spot on. The 2 wide men, the 2 strikers played high and wide when they had the ball, and Trossard played as like a false 9. When they lost it, the 2 wide strikers came very narrow and allowed our fullbacks to have the ball, and they said, you can go wide, but you're not going to come through the middle of our pitch. And they were really solid through the middle, played 3 centre-halves. Who looked ultra comfortable first half. And yeah, we found it difficult. But I think what's been a good thing about Man United this year is that they've gone goal behind on a number of occasions and they've managed to find a way and they've ground out results. And that's the difference between wishy-washy teams and teams that aren't up near the top of the league, is teams that when the going gets tough and they're asked questions in certain games or they go a goal down, they fold. Man United have shown there's a steeliness to them. It's not been perfect, sometimes not pretty, but they're getting the job done and they come from a goal behind against a very good Brighton team. I think their position in the league's a false position, really, given the way that they've performed. They haven't really probably converted the chances that they've been creating. They always create chances. They always play good football. And I think that's an area Brighton next season will definitely be looking to recruit. And if they find a number 9 who gets some 15-plus goals, they're going to be a problem.
Right. But Rio, you've mentioned coming back and, winning games. It's too much sometimes, man. We know that that's a sign of a good team. But I saw a statistic that showed that Man United have done it the most in the league.
Yep.
See what I mean? So for me, I'm saying it should get to the point where you should be able to see off teams. No disrespect to Brighton, obviously they've done a decent job and stuff, but you should be able to go into a game and just control it like a Man City does or a Liverpool.
Yeah, but that's like a typical fan perspective that you're expecting it all at once. You got to remember we were, what was it, 28, 30 something points behind Liverpool last year. We've spun that around and flipped it on his head. There's progress. You can't expect overnight absolute success and everything to be changed and for the better. I think there's going to be still chinks in the armor because we're improving. We're not the finished article by any means. So there's we're getting there slowly. Listen, as fans, we want it overnight. I understand that, but you got to be patient. I mean, what would you give for your team to be able to grind out results? Do you know what I mean? And come from behind every now and again.
I ain't watching football no more, bruv. I'm a basketball fan now. You already know. I'm done with footy for a while. I hear you, Steve. What about you? Because you're sitting there going like this, but you're a bit harsher on United, I would say.
Am I?
Yeah, you are.
In the group, you are. Well, you're harsh on Luke Shaw.
Don't chat shit. I've not said anything about him for weeks now.
He's been playing well for months, though.
There you go. I would. We said this when we talked about the England side last night because Rio's got well excited and thinks that England are just going to be able to turn up and go toe-to-toe with teams. In an ideal situation, yeah, I'd love United to turn up, get 3-0 up and call it a day against every single team out there. But like you said, you've got to take it step by step and progress has to be continual, but you can't put a time frame on it. You can't put a time frame on it during a pandemic because you don't know what's going on with the players. You don't know what's going on with different things in terms of the fitness and how the players are coping with this physiologically, because when they all got locked down in March, they didn't get furloughed and just get told to chill. They were doing like exercise classes every single day, and that might have took its toll. That might have created imbalance in energy systems, in muscles that haven't been corrected over the course of the season. Players are running on a weird sort of tempo throughout this season. So this season's just like, I think you almost have to call it a free swing at things and see what happens next year. If we come second this year, I'd say that's a little bit of progress, but can we build upon it? If we go through another transfer window where we've not added a right winger, like when was even the last right winger that United had, like first choice right winger? It was probably Valencia.
So on that point, so if we buy a right winger, what happens to Mason Greenwood?
Well, Mason's not going to continue as a right winger throughout the whole of his career. What happens to Mason is he plays either off the striker, whether that's Cavani or Marshall. He can come in on the right-hand side in different games.
Where's Bruno play then?
You what?
Where does Bruno play if he plays there?
You can have a night off, Rio. That's the one thing that the problem with United's been. There's like the players play week in, week out and don't get a break. Use the squad, use the rotation. You can still get 25, 30 games out of Mason with a first choice right winger.
Howson, this is a good opportunity to bring in a tweet from Josh House that we put in. So big shout out to you, Josh. He added us all and he said a front three of Rash, Mason and Sancho would be fire for me. It's Sancho, Rice or other and centre back in the summer. So he still sees Greenwood being able to fit in their house. Do you reckon that would work?
What Rio was saying yesterday about Cavani mentoring Mason, I'm really excited about, because if he becomes even close to what Cavani was at his peak, what a player that we've got on our hands, and what a player for him to learn off. Someone who's an absolute consummate professional from the impression that I get about him, and really understands and works at his game, Cavani that is. If Mason can take some of those traits of being a real predatory number 9 and understand the rules and the runs to make. I remember listening to a podcast of Ian Wright's a few years ago, and he was talking about when he was coming up at Crystal Palace. It might have been Mark Bright he was talking about, but it might have been someone a bit older. And he said basically he had to learn how to be a centre forward. And I wonder who's doing that with these players. So I was buzzing to hear that Cavani's took Mason under his wing a little bit and he's looking for him to go and do that, because that excites me. Because I think you have to learn that.
Do you know what happens is when you get to like a certain age, 28, you become a senior player in the squad. And if you're someone who loves football and you normally you see something in someone and you think, you know what, he's a good kid, man. And you just begin to help him. It just happens. And I see that with Cavani. He seems like a good guy, a great professional, as Steve was saying there. And what I hear is that he's just absolutely kind of fell in love with Mason. He's just got him under his wing and just trying to hone him and show him the ropes and little things. And it was a good thing. BT, we interviewed him after the game yesterday, and he said that I've been working on things behind the closed doors, and it shows you that this kid he wants to be educated. He wants to learn. It's his first headed goal for Man United. He knows Ollie's questioned that about your head. And if you're going to be a top goal scorer, you've got to score headers as well. You've got to add things to your game. Mason Greenwood was that good as a kid. He's probably running an autopilot most of the time. Just the game was coming to him. Whereas now, especially when you've had your first season, when you're a surprise package, you can play off autopilot because no one really knows. Now, he scored the amount of goals he scored last season. He had the impact he had last season. Players will be doing their research on him, their homework before they play him. So now he's got to find other strings to his bow. He's got to add other things to his game that he can keep surprising people with. And that's the growth of a young player. And he's got no better person to learn from than Cavani. And that's the added value of bringing in experience like that. Yes, either on loan or as a permanent. You bring experience like that, they add value. Henrik Larsson, I always cite him as an example. Wayne Rooney, you ask Wayne Rooney, he learned a lot of him. So all the players, the strikers especially, had to retain the ball,
5
play
minutes
patient.
He was there no time at all, was he?
No, but he showed the lads that patience, that humility, receiving the ball, runs that you make off the ball, unselfish play. And I think that Mason has got so much natural ability that there are just little fundamentals that he can be added to his game that will make him an elite player forevermore. And I think it's just a tad too soon to expect him to play up front right now. You can do it, like you say, on the odd occasion here and there, but to put him up front. And I was speaking to Darren Fletcher yesterday about different things and players we played with. We just have these type of conversations. But he said something that's quite true. Robin van Persie didn't play as a proper number 9 until later on in his career, probably mid to later part of his career. And Mason, if you're going to say he looks like many players, Robin van Persie's characteristics there is some similarities there. So that being said, he's got. I think he's going to have a great frame. But I think the most important thing is what's between there. He wants to learn. He's hungry to learn. He's learning right now off the right people, taking in the right information. It bodes well.
Yeah, I think you can bring in another first choice like a Sancho or whoever off the right-hand side, and you can keep it going. If you look at the rotations that the great United sides have had in the past, there's always been your first choices, but then the backups have been good backups that have come in and they've added something. Like, how many games did Chicharito start? Wasn't tons, was it? But when he needed to, he'd come in and he would add to what was going on in the first 11. And I think... But
he was 7 million. That's the difference.
Maybe, but Mason's not cost anything. And as he grows...
Listen, I agree with you. I'd take Sancho in a heartbeat right now. Yeah. I would.
Look how many left-sided forwards that United have signed since Rashford was there, or centre forwards. From Tony Marshall was there the same season. Marcus broke through. We signed him that summer. We've signed Sanchez. You brought in Mkhitaryan, you could argue, plays in his position, kind of. Lukaku, Zlatan. He's outlasted all of them. The cream will always get there in the end as long as it's given chances to play. And I think
it's like Rashford, though. Where does he play? What's his actual position?
I think left forward. I don't think he's got everything to be a centre. He reminds me a lot of Timo Werner. I think the runs that they make are really similar. So I think he could play as a 9. I think he's got to improve in the air to play week in, week out as a 9. But I think he's got a lot of brilliant playmaking attributes that really work off the left-hand side. I think his ability to see passes and play passes is well underrated. I think people look at him and go, left winger, Ryan Giggs, you got to just run at people. No, I think there's more to it than that.
I think it's all about where they see himself as well. As long as if Marcus has bought into playing on the left, I think he's a massive asset. I think, like you saw yesterday, the goal. He didn't play particularly well yesterday, but the chance comes, bang, goal. So
what a finish.
Great finish.
Goals he's got for this season. It's an unbelievable amount of goals and assists for someone who's having a pretty ordinary season.
19 goals this season so far.
Can't argue with that.
Real quick one, Rio, yeah? You spoke earlier on about players learning you saw someone come in and you gave them you look and you go, yeah, I like this kid. Who did you look at over your time at Man United and you just took a liking to that player and you said, you know what, yeah, I'm going to give him all my knowledge. I'm going to really try to take him under my wing. Which players?
I like to think I helped quite a few young lads. I mean, like the De Silva twins, whenever they played fullback near me, I tried to talk them through the game, coach them through the game. Nani, I'd spend time with. You talk. I was a communicator. I probably talk too much sometimes. You know what I mean? Who else? I'm trying to think. Who you talk to? Johnny Evans. You talk to sometimes. Loads of the young players. You'd speak. Michael Keane. I don't know. I wasn't. It wasn't just one player that I was with that I just constantly was on all the time. I was really just about who I could get into to improve the team when they come in, that they feel comfortable, that they feel relaxed, that they didn't feel this is too big an occasion.
Mm-hmm. And who had the most potential?
Who had the most potential? What I would say is that I thought that Rafael da Silva should have stayed at Man United, and I think he could probably have still been playing now if he stays. Danny Welbeck, you saw yesterday, was probably the best striker on the pitch yesterday in performance, who I believed should never have been able to leave Man United. When fit, I'd take him above loads and loads of players. Them two definitely at that time when they were allowed to leave. Chicharito I would never have let leave Man United.
Louis was all of these, wasn't he? Did Louis let all three of these go?
Yeah, and Chicharito was another one who's he's a student of the game. You talk to him, you can see him just taking it all in. It's all seeping into his pores to release once he gets out in the 90 minutes, and that's a key part of it. You want to help, you want to coach, you want to talk to people that you see who are receiving the information, who want to receive the information. There's no point in me just talking and talking. I wouldn't go and talk and give someone anything who I thought didn't want it or just was a little bit aloof. I probably wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't waste my time. I want people who want to learn around me.
On Welbeck, I was wounded when he went. I thought the papers made a massive overreaction about him going because they sort of saw it as that was the end of like United's academy thing because he was like the main academy player in the side at the time. What was your thoughts on it? Because I know as fans we were pretty gutted when he went. Because it was when we bought Falcao in, wasn't it? He was like, "Yeah, I'm out of here."
We didn't buy players. One who were going to be there much longer than the time they were there. I mean, Falcao, as great a player he has he had been, I didn't see him as a Man United player really at that time. He came into the team. He's probably the best at attacking the ball from crosses, and we never crossed the ball, for one. But Welbeck was just he epitomised everything about Man United. He was hardworking. He understood what it meant to be a Man United player. He had quality. He could come in from being on the bench every now and again as well. He knew what it meant to be a squad player as well. But when he was there to start, he produced the goods. He was what I always used to judge people like him, how hard they were to train against. He was hard to play against in training. And so I knew you'd speak to players and defenders that played against him and go, he's a nightmare. He don't stop moving. He's always on the move. His awareness, he receives the ball well. He can run behind. He's quick. He's got everything. And maybe just his finishing wasn't as clean maybe as some others as to make him probably elite. But he was giving you enough to stay here. He had more than enough. I loved Welbeck. I loved him as a footballer. I loved him as a lad. Great for the changing room. The type of kid that you want in your dressing room. Pure hearted guy. And I just thought we got rid of good people. Chicharito, Welbeck, Rafael da Silva at that time were good Man United people.
Character.
They wanted to play for Man United. They knew what it meant. They want to win. They knew that badge didn't weigh heavy on their shoulders. They knew what it was like, and they'd been part of the previous era that knew how to win, and they could have carried that on to give it to other people. It was their turn and their chance to be able to pass that on. But I thought Man United obviously wasn't set up in the way that they probably are today. I don't think they'd allow that to happen today.
But when you look at players like, you had Welbeck, Falcao's come in. Obviously, you got Rooney, RVP, Chicharito. You can understand why someone had to get shipped off, right? Because he's not going to play any games. I know he could play off the left a little bit, but someone had to go, right?
Yeah, but you don't have to bring in them. Don't bring in. You got enough players there that are playing. You don't need to. Why bring in Falcao to destabilize the settings at the football club? And when you've got, if you know that bringing in Falcao, you're gonna have to get rid of someone like Danny Welbeck, you don't do it.
Yeah, but Rio, at the time, Falcao. Let's not act like he was the Falcao that finished at United. The guy was there bullying John Terry in the Super Cup, bullying teams. Like,
that was ages ago. That weren't straight after that.
No, it weren't straight. But when you know that someone's got that capabilities, you will take the risk. That's exactly why Chelsea took the risk. You see what I mean?
I understand why you take the risk, yeah, if you play to that player's strengths. Man United didn't play to that player's strengths. He's the best. His percentage of goals that he'd scored from crosses was the best in Europe at the time. Best at attacking the ball from crosses. We didn't cross the ball. You can't tell me you're going to bring in a player, he's a great player and his best attribute is this, but we're going to do the opposite. Doesn't make sense to me. And that's why recruitment is so key. And the recruitment at that stage, and then with Mourinho after, we weren't buying Man United players that suited Man United's philosophy and way of playing. We weren't.
I hear you. I mean, in my opinion.
Listen, man, I agree. Yeah, the Falcao that tore Chelsea up in that Super Cup game and scored 4 goals. Any team in the world's taking him. That weren't the Falcao that turned up at Man United. Yeah, with all due respect.
It was the one I thought we were getting.
Yeah. You thought you were getting him as well. Let's be real.
We were dreaming. We were dreaming.
You were gassed, bruv. When you heard he came in the jet.
There's videos of me saying some irresponsible shit when we signed Falcao. Trust me.
If you find a video of me going mad about Falcao coming,
there was no videos back then, though, Rio. There was no videos.
I was on TV. I was on TV.
Listen, when I heard, I remember it was all about Twitter at the time.
Was you not going mad? Was you not excited?
No, listen. When Falcao landed, I told all my friends, because obviously there was the banter, there was this, I said, you know what, they've won the league. That's it. They've won the league. It's over. It's done.
No, I weren't sold, man.
Boy,
sorry.
Shocking. All right, cool. So going back to, we had a little stroll down memory lane. I can see the tears down your eyes and stuff, yeah? Luke Shaw, gotta be Man United's best player this season. Gotta be. Steve, I'm not even just saying it to stir up the argument. Yeah.
No, you are. You
absolutely are. No. Let's be real. The boy is not.
Luke Shaw is he's probably player of 2021. So January onwards, I'll give him that.
All right.
But I think you're completely discounting how good Rashford was in the first half of the season, how good Bruno was in the first half of the season. And even though he's not everyone's flavour of the month, Harry Maguire is having a pretty solid season. And I think the peak of Shaw is probably higher than maybe all of them, but the consistency of those three I put above Shaw. He's had a good season on average now, and if he continues this to the end of the season, he will have had his best season at the club. But he's not been the best player at the club this season. Maybe in 2021, but not this year.
Second, surely, at the very least. Because if you're going to put someone above him, it's only Bruno. It's got to be Shaw after that. I don't see anyone else.
I still think Maguire's had a more consistent season. Season.
No.
I think Bruno and then Shaw, Maguire, Rashford for goals, but performances, I think he probably could do more, improve. I think he'd be honest and tell you that himself. But goals-wise, output, Rashford's putting up some good numbers, man. But Bruno's been
big drop off though. After that, for
Bruno's been the standout player. There's not even a question.
Bruno Shaw, everyone else down there.
He's in my top 3, Joel. Shut up.
You're something else, man. You really
see. This is going to get taken completely out of context again.
Nah, but because
this is it. Never ending. I can just literally say and said he's been the best player in 2021. People are like, why'd you hate him?
Is the United philosophy back, guys?
No, not yet. I think there's still work to do. I think there's work to do. I think most people at Man United will be satisfied with the progress. If you're doing a progress report and you're doing an appraisal of the season, if Man United win the Europa, which I'm quite confident that it will, and finish second, it's been a hell of an improvement from where we were last year, sitting there at the end of the season last year thinking, wow, there's a lot to do. But there's been improvements, and I think Ollie will be sitting there going, right, now recruitment. Now the culture at the club, winning mentality. Let's build on that.
Yeah, and that's going to include signings, I think. Ollie getting a new deal. What's the idea of doing it now and not the end of the season?
Yeah, I don't know. It's always baffles me that most clubs always do things wrong, man. Do it in the summer when there's not a game next week where it could absolutely turn up the narrative and change the narrative completely. Just wait till the end of the season. There's no rush, man. Get it done. Signed at the end of the season when we finish second and we won the Europa.
Any questions on giving him an extension whatsoever for you?
Unless there's an absolute collapse and we finish fifth and we get knocked out by Granada in the Europa, then I don't see there being a problem with giving him a new deal. Because he's improved. He's done what the remit's got to have been to improve. Has he done that? Yes, he has. Whether that deal requires a new deal, that's down to the owners. I'm not fussed either here or there. But if that's what the going rate and what that means, if you've got to a certain target they've set you, and that triggers a new deal, then that might be the case.
Liverpool, Arsenal, Joel.
Listen,
are Liverpool actually back, or are you just really bad?
Nah, you know what? Yeah, you've got to give credit to Liverpool, obviously.
Oh, I thought you were going to do that, yeah.
Wait, they turn up, innit? Like, they turn up. Let's be really honest. Before I get onto the Arsenal part, I got a lot to say on that. But Liverpool, they looked like they were hungry. They looked like they wanted to get first to the ball. Even before they had scored, man, you could see we were shaky the whole way through. It wasn't if, it was when. But Diogo Jota, my word, what a baller. Seriously. I don't like the fact that little men are jumping in front of us and getting headers, yeah, to score their goals. That's terrible. That's something else. But besides that, the pressing, forcing mistakes upon Gabriel. I mean, him, Salah, for me, second half, amazing stuff. Jota, how many goals is it? What, during the international period? Is it 2 and 3?
Yeah.
He got for his country.
2.
Just going back to Gabriel, like he's Arsenal, yeah?
Yeah.
When's the last time Arsenal signed a centre-back who they could rely on completely?
Koscielny.
Sol Campbell.
Nah, Koscielny.
How long ago was that?
That was too long, mate. Too long, my friend.
And he was one of like, and then before that was probably Sol.
Yeah.
Colo.
Yeah, Colo.
But like, it's unbelievable. They've gone from having absolute rocks at the back to like, they can't sign a good centre half for me. I just don't understand it. Like, they've signed so many. Gabriel, like, there's so many that come through who they have the odd good game when you go, you know what, I can see something here. Then it just capitulates. And I watched Gabriel on the first day of the season against Fulham and thought, oh, actually, he looks all right. You can never judge a player on the one game, I know that. But as a one-off, I thought, actually, he looks quite quick. He looks aggressive, got a nice left foot. But then just folds, man. It just don't make sense. I can't get my head around it. Is it a team that there's no protection or what? I just think that the defenders just look open and exposed and unable to deal with situations. I know you're playing against Salah, who's one of the best in the world right now, but they don't make it easy for themselves. They don't make it look pretty, man.
Nah, I mean, if you look at, David Luiz, he will have an odd game here and there where you think, yeah, brilliant. But am I looking at these guys and thinking, yeah, you know what, he's going to help take us to the next level? I don't see it, and fair enough, Luiz, he gives it all he's got. He's had an incredible career. No one can ever doubt that. But, you need someone that, you can look at and strikers fear. I just don't think strikers fear our centre-backs.
As an Arsenal fan, how do you feel about the absolute over-reliance on the likes of the young players coming through, like Emile Smith-Rowe, Saka? Is that something that you're proud of and you're happy about as an Arsenal fan because they're young players that come through the system, or what?
Are you bannering me as of it?
I'm not. I'm just asking a simple question because a lot of fans they romanticize about having young players in the team, and so you might be happy with that.
Well, I don't know if you're serious or not here, but I'll answer you anyway. We're relying on 19-year-olds, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Man.
2 19-year-olds. Listen, you played against Arsenal. Arsenal was a big game. Big game. Saka's out the team. ESR's out the team. And we're looking flat, bruv. Flat. Odegaard, obviously, I give him respect.
I got a question for you, Joel.
Go on.
Do you reckon if Brentford get promoted, you'll finish above next season?
Do you know why I'm not doing that bet? Because I got a bet with my boy Josh Akers, yeah, and I bet he's a Leeds fan, and he said he bet me that Leeds would finish above Arsenal. I just cussed him off, man. I told him to shut up, man. I'll take your peas, and we put the bet down. But I'm looking at the table, and we're both on 42 points. Is crazy.
It's a bit sticky for you boys now.
Listen, it's mad.
Have you heard the story about how Arsene Wenger signed Stepanos?
Nah.
Ray Parler tells it on the Magic Sponge podcast. If you've not listened to it, it's amazing. Basically, some geezer turns up. Was it Latvian, Stepanos?
I don't know. He was poor though.
Yeah.
So he turns up for a trial, and Keown apparently was flapping a little bit. Maybe we get Keown on to talk about that because this is funny. Keown was flapping about. He looks like a bit of a beast, apparently. So he was flapping, thinking, "Oh, this kid's coming in, taking my place." And then, like Ray Parler, and I think he says Dennis Bergkamp and a couple of others were sort of sitting on a bench with Keown, and every time this kid did something, they was like cheering, going, "Oh, he's quality!" And supposedly Wenger's turned around and gone, "Like, oh, you're rating him?" And they've ended up signing him on the back of it.
No way.
Mate.
Martin Keown would have been sitting there having like kittens, thinking that they really like him. Like, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. Like he'd have been so nervous. What a great guy he is, man.
Yeah. But going back to our attackers as well, like Aubameyang, Pepe, it weren't really nice, was it? I see there's some tweet going around. They were saying that Aubameyang and Pepe look like Poet and Specs. Like
I saw that as well. They do. Poet and Aubameyang look like cousins, boy. Serious. Unbelievable.
Oh my days. But yeah, it's poor overall, man. There's not much to say. They got me wearing a Lakers top. But I want to go back to Mo Salah. For me, I feel like he's respected and he's rated, but I feel like there's still a side of me that reckons he's not as rated as he should be. I remember arguing with you and Culture Cams, and you were trying to tell me that Salah doesn't run at players and he doesn't. And at the time, I didn't have examples, but I went away and I looked at what he did to us beginning of last year at Anfield.
You're not a benchmark for if anyone's good.
No. Seriously, Salah has the ability to run at players.
Listen, that wasn't. That's not the full. That's not in the proper context of what you're saying. Yeah, I love Salah. People were asking me last season and the season before, who do I prefer, Salah or Mane? I preferred Mane. He was in better form for me, and there was more. I thought there was more to him for me, and I rated it on who I feel that I would find it harder to play against out of the two. Right. Just he's a bit unorthodox, Mane. That's the only difference. This season, Salah's been head and shoulders above in that respect. But no. Salah runs at people and stuff, but he isn't that. How can you put it? Like he's not got that Hazard little bit of genius, that kind of mad imaginative like flair.
Direct gets the ball.
Yeah, he just gets the ball. There's no skills. There's no step overs. There's no feints really. It's just get the ball from A to B quick as you can, and it's great. Don't get me wrong, but if you're looking for style and how it looks, etc. He's just effective, man. Get me the ball. I'm going to get to go and bang. So to look at, sometimes he's not as good to look at. But what he does, man, you can't argue with Salah. His numbers are up there with the best that's ever done it in the Premier League. So that's a fact, and there's no getting away from that. So when you're talking about the best,
does that take away from him because he's diving? Because I can't stomach his diving. It's pathetic.
Yeah, but listen, man, all the players used to dive Wazzy used to dive sometimes. Just because he was a madman and tackled people like a nutter sometimes. Wazzy used to dive sometimes. Ask Joe about the Invincible team when we got the penalty at Old Trafford.
Yeah, come on,
do you know what I mean? Everyone, they've all taken a dive here and there. There's none of them strikers that don't. They love it.
Yeah, you do that.
I'm saying, is that the reason why he's not? Because I don't look at him and go, "Oh, one of the greatest the Prem's ever seen."
Bro, 150 Premier League games, 93 goals.
Yeah, that's a mad record, man.
It's 2 less than Rude got.
Mad. Yeah, but we talk about the way you talk about Rude. You love Rude.
Good point. Like, well, man.
Salah's on doing them numbers, man. You gotta give him that respect.
Different game to 20 years ago, though. People do score more goals now.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But you still got to do it. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
True.
I stopped rating Steve when we did our in the group chat when we did our front three. I know we're gonna probably do a separate episode of this, but it's
gonna be a series. Our England team for this summer is gonna be a series.
No. This one was Cantona. You said all-time United.
All-time Premier League strikers. He said,
yeah,
all-time Prem, and you said Cantona, Rooney, and
Rude.
Yeah, it's decent, but
what do you mean decent?
No, it's good, but for me,
I don't care what you say. You can't have that. Yeah, the best
Yeah.
Premier League strikers of all time, and you're naming 3 of them, and you don't name Thierry Henry.
you don't rate
What
Henry.
did I say? Terry Henry probably comes into this somewhere.
No, probably.
No.
Bro, come on,
Probably.
man.
He's the first name on the team sheet
You know?
as a number 9, as a striker.
Yeah.
Don't
For
remember
me,
winning back to
I'm having Thierry, Aguero, and Rude.
What? But where's Rooney?
Nah, he's got to sit out
See,
this one. Still.
My 3 could play together. His
he
3
got-
is just going to argue about who gets to take penalties.
That's all right, mate. That's all right.
So
Either that.
Rooney has to be in there. I saw a big centre half, 6'5", shaking in the tunnel bare times when they're looking at Rooney, looking at
90-year-old
5'9",
Rooney, yeah.
5'10" Rooney, and thinking, I can't wait for the final whistle to go. I don't even want to go out against him. I don't even want to see this guy. Look at him. He shouldn't be playing against me.
Take me back to that Fenerbahce game with 18-year-old Rooney. He's ripped his shirt for some reason, getting it over his head. He goes out and scores a hat-trick on his United debut. Was you as utterly deludedly excited as I was after seeing that?
Yeah, it was crazy. I remember me and I think Giggsy and a couple of others just laughing at each other. Just look at like he was getting changed, just like oblivious to us. And we looked like, you look across the change room like at Giggsy and just look at him and go like
Before the game or after it?
After the game. Like after the game, we're sitting there going,
he's got his match ball under his arm.
like that. No, the thing is, that he didn't even the match ball. The kit man's got it somewhere. He ain't even that bothered, was he? He weren't like he's not bothered about loads of stuff. He's like a weirdo, like in that. He just like I banged a hat trick in at Old Trafford, get my kit on and go and have a beer, like and go and see my mates. That's it. But like we're sitting there going like, fucking hell. Like don't forget in that game, yeah, Giggsy's standing over the ball for the free kick, and this 18-year-old who just signed says, "No, step aside, Giggsy, please. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm taking it."
Did he let him? Well, how did
Like,
that?
and he just took it. And you're sitting there going like, wow. But what I mean about Rooney is I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves. Like what this guy, like you spoke about Rashford there being able to create. Wazza was like a number 10 and number 9 all in one. He'd come off. Wazza would get as much pleasure sometimes as coming off the centre half, receiving it in the 10 hole and then clipping it round the corner to someone or out wide or going to the left wing and just doing a left to right ball.
Well,
He
look at his
loved
goal.
it.
Look at his pass for RVP in the Villa game.
Yeah, and what he was like, I don't think he's appreciated or respected. We go abroad. I always say this: we go abroad with Man United, or you go anywhere with Wazza, man. You go Italy and places like that. They are falling over themselves to get near him, to look at him, to touch him. Like he's a superstar everywhere else. Here, yeah, Wayne Rooney's great. Yeah, but I see people always naming about 3 or 4 or 5 players before him. Like he's a ridiculous talent. Like. It's crazy, like, and he was like a street footballer. He could go out, he would smash someone in a tackle, get up, but then be able to roll someone with a mad bit of skill and then ping it 30 yards or put it in the top corner. He had everything, mate. He had that aggression, guile, pace, like mentality, the winning mentality, hated lose. He had it all, man. And like, you go into a game, you want to go into battle with people, and you think if it's going to get tough and we have to roll our sleeves up, or I need a goal at some point. He's one of my first picks. He was a joke. And I'll never forget. I used to look at centre halves and you could see them with their hands on their hips behind him after 10 minutes. You can see him just looking at him and looking it up and down and thinking, is this guy real? Like, is he really real, this guy? Because they look scared, man.
How would you stop him in training?
What?
How would you stop him in training? What would you do?
He never got past me once in training. No, I'm joking. No, you know what? It was a running joke that you didn't want him on your team. He weren't even that good in training sometimes. He had the odd day where you thought, oh my God, Waz has done something unbelievable. But most of the time, it was a running joke between some of us. He won't like me for saying it, but you used to say, I hope I don't get him on my team. Waz was the worst in training again today. Give him the yellow bib. It was weird. But come game time, Tevez was the same. You didn't want him on your team in training, Tevez and Rooney, really. But come game time, I ain't taking anybody else. I want Tevez. I want Rooney on my team. 100%.
This is all well and good, yeah, but don't try to play down Aguero to me, you know.
I didn't say that. I said Aguero is one of the best I played against in the Premier League.
All right.
So what's your 3 then? What's your forward 3?
Who, me? I'll wait to the show, man. When we do the show, we'll do it. I've not had enough time to think.
All right. There's going to be a lot of work going on in this show soon, man. We're bringing out all the
There's going to
papers.
be texts coming in now to petition.
Chelsea just got slapped 5-2 by probably relegation favourites, West Brom, man. What are we saying?
Minor. Nothing. It don't mean nothing. Tuchel's been solid since he's come in.
Yeah.
He's turned things
There's
around.
a blip in it.
Yeah, for me,
Good
I
out of
look
10 men. Wasn't prepared.
exactly. For me, I look at it prior to that game. What, something like 15 games, 19 goals. The only criticism is they're probably not scoring as much goals as they should do, I reckon, with the team that they have. Besides that, I can't complain. Yeah, defensively tight. And I saw you on BT yesterday talking about top 4, and you think Liverpool's going to squeeze in there. I think it's down to Chelsea, because if you see how good they've been in the last, 15 games, you can't write them off. No way.
No, you know why I said it about Liverpool? It's Liverpool that, if you're looking at Chelsea, Spurs, Leicester, and Liverpool, out of them teams, who can go on a run and win 8 games on the bounce? Who's proven that they can do that? Liverpool, the only team. They've proven that they can really do that consistently. That's where my fear for the other teams comes from. And if I'm the other teams, I am thinking this, after watching them against Arsenal and doing what they've done there, they look like something like their old self again. A little bit. It's one game. We'll see how the next couple of games go. But if they hit that vein of form, they ain't getting that. They could do it a 7-8 game unbeaten run and win them all.
They're not getting above United or Leicester. But I do think Chelsea is the only one in the top 4 that's in a threat, potentially. Because you're looking at, they're going to have to average a point a game more than Leicester to get above Leicester. That's a lot of points. That's a collapse from Leicester. But you look at United's last fixtures. I think we've got Wolves, Villa, Liverpool, Spurs, Leicester. We've got some rough games in our last. We could definitely drop a lot of points.
No, United are second, man.
Yeah, they are. I can't lie, they are.
I don't think so.
I don't see United coming out of this unless something major happens. But you're only one injury away from that.
Can we move on to Tottenham and Newcastle? What a result for Steve Bruce, man! Last minute.
And he stayed up.
No, I think I don't know. Newcastle or Fulham go down. Fulham, they went 1-0 up, and I thought, wow, Newcastle were in free fall. They're going to go down. But the way Villa come back and beat them, it puts Fulham back under a bit of pressure and just changes the way that it was looking, that the outlook was looking for them before this break. These international breaks at this time of the system they can mess up momentum for teams, man, and the rhythm. And I'm afraid that I hope it don't happen to Fulham, because they were in a decent run of form.
Yeah, I like Fulham, man.
And I like the way Scott Parker's going about his thing at the moment. He's a young, fresh manager, speaks really well. Changed the fortunes of the football club from the first couple of weeks that we saw them, where they're shipping goals left, right, and centre. They've become a difficult proposition to play against, but there's still massive work to do. But going to the Newcastle Spurs game, they scored last minute. Obviously, there's loads of problems at Newcastle behind the scenes and with the players and the manager and whatnot. But what come out of that game for me was the quote from Jose Mourinho. Well, we got it to put up.
Yeah, putting it up now. And the quote was, Rio?
Yeah, so Jose Mourinho was asked a question, yeah? In the past, holding on to a lead is what you've been so good at doing. And Mourinho's quote back was, same coach, different players.
When did he become so snide?
Man, the only thing I think about that, like, I understand that a part of me understands Jose Mourinho, yeah? He has an ego. Like all of us, we all have one. And he has pride. And you attack him, he comes out fighting. And I respect that a lot, I got to say. But I don't, in these situations, sometimes he thinks about himself before anything else, to a fault. Like, he doesn't maybe think about at that initial moment the impact that can have on people when you change room. Because I think if I'm a player in that change room, and that is definitely casting doubt over what he thinks of me as an individual, maybe, and us as a team. Like, it's not me. It's not my responsibility. This team's dropping points and not doing what they're meant to do. When we're winning 2-1 last minute, dropping points, it's not me. It ain't me. I've been here, done it, seen it with better players than this. This lot, they ain't up to it. That's the vibe that you get from a comment like that. And what that does to a change room, man, that doesn't galvanize or bring them on side. That creates a rift, especially when you're not getting results. If they're winning week in, week out, top of the league, you can say and get away with these type of things. Not when you're a team that's like looking for a bit of confidence, searching for a bit of consistency.
Playing rubbish football as well. Football ain't that attractive either.
He's not bringing the players on side with them type of comments, man. That's what I fear for Mourinho and his squad. That those comments don't bring people alongside him. You're going to war. You're going into 90 minutes to get results. Them comments don't say, right, come alongside me. This guy again.
I also don't think he's the same coach. More to his point.
Or he might be the same coach, and football's evolved a little bit. Maybe, you don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder what the impact of not having Rufario was.
Huge, massive.
Yeah. He's gone. That was his assistant. He's number 2, who's left.
Like, Jose coming through in Portugal, coming through, his first stint at Chelsea. He was charming. He was cocky and arrogant, but he was backing it up, and there was like a glint in his eye when he said it. It was cheeky almost. Whereas now when he says it, it comes across as like really bitter and really cold for some reason.
Yeah, and I felt that at Man United. I've got to be honest, I did. I really felt that at Man United. And he was really prickly with the press. And he sometimes got a bit personal with the players in the public. And I listen, getting personal with players face to face, behind closed doors, I'm all for that. I think it's needed. Drill them, get into them, look for a response. I understand that. But publicly, some players in this generation can't deal with that. They don't want that. They don't want no piece of that public dressing down, because social media, what that brings, the pressures, all eyes on me. They don't want that, man. You do it behind closed doors in your office. I get it. You get a reaction. Normally it works. It might not work, but at least publicly, they're still on side. And when you go public, man, sometimes I think that's where you're leaving yourself open to criticism, but also for players to kind of just, you know what, down tools, this ain't for me. I'm on my 60, 70, 100, 150 bags a week. I'm all right, man. I've got a 4-year deal. The manager's the weakest person at the club in this today's day and age, unless you're someone like Pep or Klopp who's got that credit in the bank. But anyone else, a player's thinking, I'm going to outlive you, mate, at this football club. So you keep talking about me in public. What?
Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, maybe Brendan Rodgers, but that's 3 out of 20 odd. Do you know what I mean? So, like, you keep talking about me publicly. You dress me down in public. It's cool. I'm going to sit here and put my feet up. And when the new manager comes in, then I'll reboot myself again. But until then, thank you very much. I'm cool.
You think that's happening a lot?
Yeah, I think that happens. I think a lot of the players, they see it now. I think it happened at Chelsea probably with Frank. The players say, you ain't playing me. You ain't giving me all right, cool. I know you're not going to be here longer than me because I've got a 4-year deal, bruv. That's how I think that's how some people, not all players, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that all players are like that, but I know that there's a good few players that will think like that.
Yeah, because it's work at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? Like we think of football and we just see the lights and football. End of the day, it's somewhere you got to go in. It's a building, and you know that's how it is. Looking at the Tottenham situation just a little bit more, I can't help but think about Poch. Right? I speak to some of my Spurs mates, and they're like, "Yeah, but he wasn't doing too well before he got sacked." But for me, man, you got to ride it out with that guy. You know, he did it with little to no money.
Oh, that's what I was worried about for him, is he didn't have the investment, man. If he had investment behind him and a good investment, good solid investment, I think he would have been good to stick with. But listen, Daniel Levy makes them decisions, man. And listen, and you speak to probably 75% of Spurs fans when Mourinho come, they were happy. Let's not get that twisted. They were delighted for him to come. He's a winner, got a winning record. So that's all they were wanting to achieve and win things. And they thought that he was the guy to do that. That remains to be seen.
Haaland's been in the news all week. Is anyone else just fully bored of Mino Raiola, or is it just me?
He actually makes me laugh, you know. I've got to be honest. Mino Raiola, he like, love or hate him, I think he's a Marmite, probably a little bit more hated than loved. I think he revels in that. He don't care. And
Players
I think
are going to love him, aren't they? Because he clearly gets what you want as a player.
I just think he just thinks, you know what, forget, I don't care about the ecosystem of football, the clubs and stuff. And I think he's brutal about loyalty and things like that. There ain't none in football. And from a club's perspective, when it suits clubs, they preach loyalty. And when it doesn't, it's gone. It's off the menu. So, and he's very much, listen, I'm not going to be loyal to a football club because he knows that somewhere down the line that loyalty will be broken in future negotiations at some point. So, and he's very public with the way he goes about things. Like you see him traveling with Haaland's dad to Barcelona, then to Madrid. And listen, he's playing the game, man, but he's doing it in the glare of the public, and so that's just a ruthless streak that he has. Whether that looks good on the player, whether that looks good on him, I don't think he really cares. Now, some other agents would argue that they want their players' image to be a lot more cleaner than that, and to not look like it's too much of a barbaric type of situation where there's no real care or anything for anybody within the system. It's just about him and that's it. But each to their own. And I think, as I said, there'll be a lot of people that will be pointing the finger and hating what he's doing, but there'll be some that will be going, you know what? He's doing the best by his client in his own eyes.
Mm.
Imagine if you had a club. Let's say you own a Premier League club, Rio. Imagine you had 4 Mino Raiola clients at your club. You'd be shitting it, wouldn't you? Thinking the mess this geezer could cause.
No, not if your club's a strong club. If the foundations at your club are strong and the setup is there, clear for all to see, this is our system, this is our philosophy, this is our absolutes in different areas in terms of wages, in terms of fees being paid. There's non-negotiables that's it. If that's there in place, doesn't matter what he comes in and says. Before he even gets to the negotiating table, he knows where you're at. So there's only certain clubs he can go into and talk and do these type of things because there's weakness there. Maybe there's a change of CEO or whatever, or person running the club. So he can go in and there's a weakness he can kind of exploit a little bit. But that's the job of an agent to do that. I've got to be honest. An agent is there to make the best situation for his player. And if he sees weakness somewhere where he can go and get more money for his player, make a better situation for his player, then that's he's doing what his client wants him to do. And now it's down to the client. Like me personally, I wouldn't want my agent doing what he's doing in the glaring eye of the public. I wouldn't. But then it's down to the player to then dictate to that agent and say to the agent, be strong enough. Say, listen, man, that ain't for me. That ain't making me look good. Yeah, you might get me a lot more money or a bit more money or a few £1,000 a week more, whatever it is, or £1 million here or there. But I don't really want that, man. I want to be able to go to bed at night and not have no one calling me this or calling me that. Like, just because that you've done it in the public. Just do it in the shadows, please.
But this is Haaland, though. And so I think that's the difference. Like, he's a player where even with an agent like him, it almost doesn't matter because this ain't like the exact quotes, but we're seeing online that Mino might be getting 20 mil for him, money for his dad, big salary for Haaland. You know, does he not have to do this parading around to get those big numbers in his pockets? No
chance. He's the hottest young talent on the planet alongside Mbappe. So there's the marketplace will dictate this is what you get. This is what happened. This is the type of price for these players. But listen, Haaland's a young kid, man. I don't expect him to be the one going, listen, man, this ain't for me. He's still finding his way in football. He's a young boy. So at 25, I'd probably expect maybe him to be going, listen, can we? But he might just be the kind of guy that says, you know what, I don't care, man. You go and do that. I want the biggest check out there. That's it. Whether it means you fly around the world, going to different clubs, being photographed here and there with my dad, I don't care because I'm going to get the biggest dough. I don't give two hoots. But it's each to their own, man.
As an example, then on that, you got the 2 hottest prospects in the world. Who's Haaland's agent?
Raiola.
Yeah.
Raiola.
Who's Mbappe's?
We have no idea.
It's called Junior Minguea.
Okay.
Who's that?
Exactly. Wouldn't know him if he was standing next to him. And that tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it?
No, but and I don't think Mbappe is going to get any less money if they both went. I don't think Mbappe is going to get less money than what Haaland will get. I don't think. But it's just there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Clearly,
that's a good point.
So
we got to move on now to obviously Leicester losing to Man City. I mean, we don't even really talk about it anymore. So I'm going to keep it brief. We know City are doing their thing. I just wanted to focus on one bit here. Have you seen the new style of obviously when free kicks are being taken and you've got one player that's laying on the ground over there like that? Yeah. What's your thoughts on that, Rio? Because would you have been happy seeing that?
No, I'm not laying on no turf for no one. I'm sorry. I'm not laying on the floor. The wall's there to do a job. Just stand there. Stand there and that's it. I'm not being funny. If a man told me to lay on the floor, man, no. There's no fans in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah,
should put you down for a maybe on that.
What?
Should we put you down for a maybe on that?
Right, listen, guys, before we go, top 4 predictions. What are you going for?
Go, Joel. You're not in it, so go on.
Easy. Shut up, Steve, man. Easy. City, United, Leicester, and Chelsea. I know what you're saying, Rio, about Liverpool have a proven track record when it comes to all of that, but realistically, I think Chelsea's last 15 games prior to the West Brom one, that is their track record, and they've done it most recently. So as far as I'm concerned, they've already got the formula. So they're the ones that I go for when it comes to this.
I agree with you. I'm saying the same top four, but I would not be surprised if Liverpool jump in there and hijack it.
Oh, you said something different in BT yesterday, man. You even changed
on
it.
telly. I was lying there on my sofa going,
your
"The fuck is he on about?"
Yeah, bruv. I was looking, thinking, bruv. He came back and he changed it.
This is the beauty of football, man. It messes with you, man. It's an emotional game.
I don't think West Ham are out of the race yet.
No.
I think it's obviously going to go down right to the wire with them, but I think that they've hit a decent bit of form. What could skid them is literally while we've been on air, it's come out like Declan Rice has done his knee and he's going to have a scan. It looks like he could be done. If that's the case, they're not getting into the top four. If he can get back and get some games, I think they could do it, but Chelsea are going to have to drop some points for them to do it. I mean, I think they can go literally above them, I think, if they just win their game in hand on them. But I still think they're gonna struggle to outpoint them, I think.
If you're saying West Ham and Everton got to be in there because they got 2 games in hand.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I think Everton have got a good chance of finishing above Liverpool. I just think those teams are where they are because they've been inconsistent this year. So it's who's going to be the least inconsistent. And I think under Tuchel, I think Chelsea look like they're probably going to be the least inconsistent. So I think they'll probably hang on. But West Ham could put a bit of a run together. I haven't seen their fixtures though. That might be a big thing, is who they've actually got in these last 8 games.
You, Steve, what are you saying? Who's your top 4? Is it the same as mine?
Yeah, I think it's the same as it is now. The only one is I think I just got something about West Ham. I just don't know why. I just think that they could do something, but it'll be because Chelsea have messed up, and I think they look pretty consistent. So probably be as it is.
Real quick one, Rio. Danny Ings, where is he going? Real quick.
I don't know.
Is he on a free? He's on a free, isn't he?
Is he a free?
I think he's got his last year. Is it last year left? No, he's just come in it. No, so
if he's a free transfer, then he could go anywhere. He could go loads of places. I think that outside of Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, I think he goes to any of the other teams. Probably he could go to. I think he's a good player. The goal at the weekend, great goal, fabulous finish. I think he's a good player, man.
He's got another year. Not a free.
Yeah. I don't know where. If that limits him, then I think.
Good player, guys. End of the podcast. All right.
Well played, man.
Yeah, well done. Good stuff this week. We got more arguments coming. You're lucky I didn't go down the England route because I saw your England team, Rio. And
if the England team's picked today, that's how you play. Listen, as well, Trent Alexander-Arnold's got to play, man. The best right back in the world for the last 2 years. How's my man not even in the squad, let alone starting this team?
Yeah, I hear you, but it depends on who he's playing with. That's what I'm saying. I don't really trust.
We had an argument on WhatsApp last night. Go on, then. What are you saying?
Yeah, no, I'm saying, and I hear you because you're saying exactly what Wrighty said. I saw Wrighty was screaming the same thing you were screaming. How is he not playing? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's all right. But when he plays for Liverpool, he's got VVD there. Like when he's on form, obviously, he's got VVD there doing what he has to do. For England, it's not the same. Like, I like the fact that Stones has done well. Wait, he's done well, right? But when I saw him playing for England during the course of the last week and I saw some of the mistakes, I thought, my word, like it could be sticky. Him and Maguire at the back, and you got Trent. I'm not feeling too secure around there.
You got to play your best players. Who are you going to play then? Who'd you play then?
It depends.
Joe will come in and he goes, I didn't read any of the chat last night. There's 272 messages from us in there last night. Yeah. Most of it just saying Rio doesn't have a clue what he's on about.
Yeah.
Right? And you should know better. I'm disappointed, Rio. I'm disappointed in you. You should know better.
Forward, then. You said if we play defensively on the counter-attack, you want to play Aaron Wan-Bissaka. That's what you said.
Yep. And otherwise, I think if you're going to try and be possession, which I think's the crazy idea with England, I would go with Kyle Walker. I think he's just better all round.
You're wrong there. I would go with Trent there, but
here's the problem, and this is why Rio should know better. You've played in England sides where they've tried to shoehorn in what's perceived as the best players rather than picking players that work to a system.
No. Put your best players on the pitch and play them in the right system. That's it. My generation tried to play the best players, in the wrong formation. That's the difference. You play your best players in the best formation that suits them, you got a chance. Yeah,
it's a similar thing. Players trying to shoe on Trent in because we've got
creative players all in the midfield and up front. We've got creative players who can unlock teams. Yeah, but we want to go and play. People are saying, I hear him, want to go and play two defensive midfielders and play negative and conservative. I don't understand it. I don't want to limp out of a tournament, which we've done so many times. I want to go into a tournament and say, you know what? Let's back ourselves to go on toe to toe with certain teams, and we'll outplay you. If we lose doing that, at least we give it our best chance, giving our best players the best opportunity to perform. We go there again, play two defensive midfielders, play on the back foot, play conservative, and then we don't get the ball, and we don't get the ball to people like Sterling, Rashford, Sancho, Grealish, etc. What is that?
You picked Mount ahead of Grealish. Now I'm not saying Mount
Jesus Christ
isn't you know what I mean?
Read the small print. I told you this last night. Yeah? Read the small print.
No. And you were the one saying a few episodes ago, I don't care about no one else. Grealish is my man. Grealish, come look at the England squad now. He's not even in the team sheet. This is not what you told me. And we'll be putting this up on the screen anyway, so you lot can see. I'm seeing a lot of contradictions here, bro.
Can I say something? The question was put to me yesterday, yeah? If the England squad got picked today, who plays? Who plays? Grealish ain't fit. He's been injured for the last 3 or 4 weeks. That's what if Grealish is fit, he plays. I done said that. Don't twist my words.
Nah,
Henderson's not in the team.
Don't pick Harry Kane then because he already played a game that day.
Come on, you're being stupid now. I think
you're wishy-washy still, and people give you the benefit of the doubt because you got the 6 Prems and the champs, bruv. You're getting away with it still.
Listen, if we're going to go and be conservative, we're going to go out the tournament like limping, like we've done so many times, and our best players are not given the best platform to go and perform. If that's what you are telling me is what you want, that's fine.
We play too many teams like San Marino and Moldova and stuff like that, and it does absolutely jack shit. All it does is gas up the media. You're acting like you've never read a newspaper at the minute, Rio. Like you've not seen some of the things that newspapers say. If we actually went for it, and like I said to you last night, get Kevin Keegan back in charge, and if we're going to do that, like if I don't think Southgate's got a bottle to
finish second.
Yeah, but I don't think we've got a bottle. I don't think Southgate's got a bottle to be a manager that either plays fully on the counter or fully actually goes for the throat. I think he's far too wishy-washy, and he'll just sit in the middle, and he'll do nothing. And England will go out anyway as soon as they meet a good team. You're not going to go toe-to-toe with France.
You want to play on the counter, yeah? If you play a low block, yeah? You play a low block, Trent's got the ability to play a 30, 40-yard pass on the counter to get someone in immediately. But you don't want that.
But why am I defend?
If you're playing a low block, he ain't got big spaces around him. He's got people around him to cover. He can create 2v1s against a winger.
I'm not having him as a defender.
It's the personnel that I'm worried about, but that's another chat.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka's the best 1v1 defender in Europe for me. Yeah, but he's still got work to do defensively. You see the goal yesterday against Brighton.
But they all make mistakes. You can look at Reece James, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Carl Walker's probably been the best, least amount of errors, right? But when you look at all them players, you can't just say, "Oh yeah, look at yesterday and look at the mistake, bro." You can look at Trent this season.
No, that's my point. No, that's my point. They all make mistakes defensively, but I'm saying with the ball, Trent smashes all of them to pieces. So his best attributes,
crosses left, right, and centre.
His best attributes absolutely outweigh everything else.
Who are you putting crosses into? Harry Kane.
You know what we do in this country?
Harry Kane's not there on the counter. He's too slow.
You know what we do too much in this game? In the game, too much. We look for people's weaknesses. Yaya Toure is the best example. He can't defend. He can't play in a 4-4-2. Shut up. He's an absolute animal on the pitch. A great player. Scores goals, assists. Can take the game by the scruff of the neck, but you're talking about he can't defend. It happens all the time. Trent Alexander-Arnold been the best right back in the world for 2 years, and you're telling me, but he can't defend. What do you mean? Well, who's a much better defender all round and actually is anywhere near him with the ball?
Listen, we're gonna have
silence.
To end it. No,
silence for the lambs.
You know what?
Can I say Matty Cash or should I just leave?
Now, you know what? Yeah, let's wrap it up
And
there.
that's no disrespect, by the way. That's no disrespect to Reece James, Paul Walker, and Wan-Bissaka.
You need to stop calling us anti-football as well, because we're not anti-football.
No, you lot are anti, man.
That hurt my soul.
I'm just saying I don't trust all the personnel. It depends who you're playing with.
Yeah,
but anyway,
Rio, I have a team that plays tick-attacker in non-league. Don't call me anti-football.
Get out of here. Listen, guys, we've got to wrap it up. Vibe with 5. Make sure you let us know in the comments who you think is going down. Make sure you let us know in the comments who's staying up. Make sure you let us know who you've gone and harassed and gone into the comments and told them that they got to come on Vibe with 5. We want to know
who's playing right back for England. And why is it Matty Cash?
By the way, we got someone big coming on this week at an unbelievable last week and a half in his life and his career as a football player. Stay tuned.
Yes. Joel, Rio, Steve, we're out.